welcome to the Grassroots Weekend Preview. I'm your host, Alyssa Longmuir. We've had All-Stars on display and silverware handed out this week, so let's jump in and get started. The AIHL All-Star event took place in Melbourne last weekend, with the skills competition on the Saturday and the All-Star game on the Sunday. In the skills event, Melbourne Mustangs forward Pat O'Kane took out the title of fastest skater for the second year in a row. Melbourne Ice forward Joey Hughes took out the breakaway challenge, kicking an AFL football into the goals. Jamie Burke from the Melbourne Mustangs didn't miss a target in the shooting accuracy heat to take the title. Joey Hughes won the stick handling competition to sweep his events. Matt Beattie from the Melbourne Mustangs had the hardest shot at 146 kilometers per hour. Joseph Rezick from the Adelaide Adrenaline was the last shooter standing in the elimination shootout, while Sydney Ice Dogs goaltender Damien Kelto proved to be the fastest skater in the goalie race. Sunday's All-Star game took on a new format than previous years, starting off 5-on-5 for the first period, then dropping to 4-on-4 for the second, and then 3-on-3 for the third. The game was tied up at 3 apiece heading into the first intermission, but Team Webster exploded in the second frame, putting 5 goals up to see Team Burke trailing 8-4 at the end of the second period. Team Burke answered back in the third period, scoring 3 goals, but Team Webster took advantage of the extra space on the ice from that 3-on-3 format, putting 6 more on the board, taking the win 14-7, as well as $18,000 in prize money. CBR Brave defenseman Dominic Jalbert was named the MVP and took home a cool $1,000 for his effort. Regular AIHL games kick off again this week, and the Melbourne Ice will start to catch up on the number of games that other teams have played so far, starting with this weekend's doubleheader in Perth against the Thunder. The second round of the Battle of Sydney will take place on Saturday, with the Ice Dogs holding the home ice advantage against the Bears at the Macquarie Ice Rink. The first bout in this series was a sellout, so make sure you book ahead to get in on the action. The Melbourne Mustangs will venture out of their stable this weekend and will have a new goaltender, James Kruger, in tow when they face off against the Newcastle North Stars on Saturday. James has played 4 years of Div 1 NCAA hockey at Dartmouth College and has played for several teams in the 2016-17 SPHL season. This will be the first meeting between the North Stars and the Mustangs this season, and both teams are hungry to put more games in the win column. The Mustangs will start their journey back home with a stop in Sydney on Sunday to take on the Sydney Bears at the Macquarie Ice Rink. The Mustangs have won both matches played against the Bears so far this season, but both games saw even scores going into the final minutes. Also spending the weekend away from home, the Adelaide Adrenaline will visit the nation's capital with a doubleheader clash against the CBR Brave. These teams have not yet met this season and will both be packing significant firepower. With Adelaide's new netminder running hot, these will make for very entertaining matchups. The Lake Macquarie Marauders took out the second annual Hunter Bowl on Sunday, beating the Port Stephens Bombers 12-6 in overtime. The Bombers had a 6-0 lead going into the halftime break, but the Marauders scored a touchdown in the second half of the game to tie, but were unable to complete the conversion for the extra points, and the game was tied 6-6 at the end of regulation. Port Stephens had the first attempt to put points on the board in overtime, but the Marauders' defensive line held them at bay. On a passing play, the Marauders' quarterback found receiver Braden Schaefer in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. This was the Marauders' first appearance in the Hunter Bowl after finishing last place at the end of last season. The Grassroots team were at the game, and you can check out our Facebook page and website for our impression. We're only weeks away from more Gridiron action kicking off, so keep tuning in each week for the latest news and updates. The Royal Rumble Roller Derby tournament is being held this weekend at the Runaway Bay Indoor Sports Stadium on the Gold Coast in Queensland. The 3-day tournament will see 14 teams from Australia and New Zealand compete to take out the tournament championship. A 3-day pass runs for $22, or you can purchase single-day passes for $12. Children under 12 will also get in for free. For more information, check out the Royal Rumble Derby tournament on Facebook. That's it for this week's Weekend Preview. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at Grassroots_AU on Twitter, at Grassroots_Sports on Instagram, and at Grassroots Sports on Facebook. Keep up to date with what's happening in emerging sports via our website, www.grassroots-sports.com.au. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday for another Grassroots Weekend Preview.